First Alert Meteorologist JD Dishroon here, and we're going to be going over your forecast in the heat wave over the course of the next week or so because it's just going to be sticking with us as we head, honestly, throughout the extended forecast period. So, as you take a look, we're going to be seeing our temperatures continuing to climb as we go through the next several days. So, today we topped out at 92, 93 for tomorrow, 95 for Monday, 97 for Tuesday, and then 98 for Wednesday and Thursday. Now, partly because of the high temperatures, but also the humidity and the impacts on most everybody as we get into Wednesday. We are issuing a first alert weather day for the potential for dangerous heat to move into the region. You may be asking, well, why don't we have it on Thursday as well? Well, Wednesday we have the confidence. We're almost there for the confidence on Thursday that dangerous heat will still be sticking around, but not quite there yet, as we may see the potential for maybe a few showers to work in that may actually help to erode that temperature a bit, but definitely something we will be watching. And if, it gets to the point where the heat will be dangerous Thursday, obviously we're going to issue that first alert weather day for Thursday as well. And this will kind of give you an idea of what we're talking about when we talk about dangerous heat. So this is the heat risk map. The National Weather Service puts this out for the entire United States every single day of the year, whether it's hot or not. What this does is it takes everything into account. So this is not just heat and humidity. Obviously, that's how we get our heat index there. But this also takes account into, how many trees are in the area, how much asphalt is in the area, because the type of vegetation, the type of ground cover also makes a huge difference in terms of, just how hot it can get and how hot it can feel. I mean, think about it this way. If you're in Piedmont Park in the grassy areas, the sun beating down on you is hot, but it's not going to feel quite as hot there if compared to if you're in the parking lot surrounded by asphalt. So areas with higher asphalt are going to be a little more prone to seeing more impacts from the heat. And so that, that's just one of the things. It's not the only thing. That's just one of the things to give you an example. It's not just heat and humidity. So here's tomorrow. Most of us are in the minor to moderate category. That's typical for this time of year. That's nothing out of the ordinary. A few spots are starting to creep up into that major category, particularly around Lake Lanier and then also here in the heart of the city. But watch what happens as we head into Wednesday. We're going to be talking, most of us actually are going to be in that major category, and a lot of us around the metro. In fact, from the metro all the way up to Athens and Gainesville are looking at that extreme category. When you get to the extreme category, it basically means everyone in that area is going to be impacted by the heat in some form or fashion. Most of us are fortunate enough to have, air conditioning in our homes, but for those who don't, once we start getting into the major to extreme category, you're not going to be able to cool off your home, even in the overnight hours. So that's going to become an issue for safety reasons. So that's why we're kind of giving folks a heads up with that first alert weather day on Wednesday. That if you don't have air conditioning, you need to start planning an alternate arrangement if you can. Because at that point, box fans are just going to be blowing around some very warm air. And then for those of you who predominantly work outdoors, I know a lot of us do, definitely take your hot weather precautions into effect. We're talking keeping yourself hydrated, keeping yourself reapplying with sunscreen, lightweight, light color clothing, hats, sunglasses, definitely a must out there. And if you can, shade or indoor AC breaks to kind of help protect you from the heat as well. So that's kind of one of the reasons that we're going to be looking at the potential for, heat-related issues as we head into Wednesday. One of the reasons we kind of put on this and put a lot of emphasis on it is if you look at weather-related deaths, a lot of things that come to mind are tornadoes, hurricanes, flooding, things like that. Actually, heat in the United States is the number one killer when it comes to weather-related deaths, and it's not even close, to be quite honest with you. Second is going to be flash flooding, and it's not even half of what the deaths are from heat. And for those of you who are wondering here, the end of the scale here, we have cold and winter. And you're like, well, how's that different? Well, cold is the actual temperature. So we're talking, frostbite, things like that, actual hypothermia, whereas winter is like, we have a winter storm, the car crashes that happen and things, people having heart attacks from shoveling their sidewalks, that kind of issue there. So that's the difference. But even then, nowhere near the number of deaths we have every year in terms of heat. Now, these numbers are the 30-year average from the last 30 years that we have data, so that'd be 1995 over into 2024. Now, a live look at the radar shows we're not getting much in the way of support from the atmosphere in terms of rain to cool us off, all that staying off to the west. We did have a few isolated showers out there today, and we may have a few more as we head into tomorrow. Temperatures, though, again, climbing back up to 93 degrees. Rain chances are going to be on the lower end of the spectrum. We're talking 10 to 20% for tomorrow. Most of us are going to stay dry. And then by Monday, 95, Tuesday, 97. So we're going to watch that temperature creep up, all because we have this dome of high pressure that's going to be sitting on top of the eastern half of the country. And literally, it will be a dome. You won't be able to see it, but the way the atmosphere is going to be shaped is definitely going to be a dome of high pressure. And what that does is it gives us sinking air. And that sinking air compresses as it heads towards the surface. And as it does so, compressed air actually heats up a lot quicker. That's why we see these higher temperatures with this heat dome moving in. Thankfully for us, the worst of it's actually going to be north and east of us. So we're kind of on the edge of it, but still enough to give us, unfortunately, that very hot weather and that possibly dangerous heat as we head into next week. The other thing to keep in mind about this with that sinking air, you need rising air for showers and storms. So that's the exact opposite. That's the other reason we're going to be looking at a very dry weather pattern as we head through the next few days. Today, topped out at 92. 72 is the morning low. Put it all together, we're 3 degrees above average for this time of year. 98 is the record high. We're not there today, but as you saw, we're definitely going to get close as we head into, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Otherwise, though, beautiful shot here of Lake Lanier. Atlanta, we're looking at 87 right now, but the lake was just too good of a view to pass up, so I wanted to pop it in there. Beautiful day for the lake. They were able to dodge most of the showers that we saw. In fact, there weren't really that many. Dew point, though, starting to climb up. So once you get towards 70 degrees, that's kind of a little muggy out there. And we're going to see that dew point continue to climb as we go through the next few days. Temperature-wise, though, we're looking at 87 in Atlanta, as we just saw. Same for Carrollton. 84 in Athens, Covington, and Thomaston at the 8 o'clock hour. 83 in LaGrange. 83 in Canton. 80 in Ellijay, and also over into Blairsville. Temperatures overnight in the city are going to fall down to about 72 degrees. Once you hit to the suburbs, we're talking mid to upper 60s. Maybe a few low 70s south of I-20. North of I-20, we're going to be looking predominantly at upper 60s, although Gainesville and Athens might top out, or should say bottom out, around 70 degrees. So here's the first alert future radar for tomorrow. It's very similar to what we saw today. Starting off clear, clouds will begin to build by noon. A few isolated showers will start to pop in and move through the area, and then everything kind of fizzles out as we head into the evening hours. And then tomorrow, those highs, as long as you're not seeing the storms, you're going to be in the low to mid 90s yet again. Athens and Eatonton climbing up towards 94 degrees. Even Ellijay up near 90, 93 in Atlanta, LaGrange, and Thomaston. And the heat continues Monday. I mean, we're going to be talking temperatures 95 in the city, 95 in Covington, 96 in Eatonton. Even Helen looking up near 90 degrees. So not getting a lot of relief for the North Georgia mountains this week, which is another reason why that heat is going to be such an important issue. Typically, the mountains will help to give you a little bit of relief, but we're not going to be seeing that much in the afternoon. You will, though, see it as we head into the evening. Again, that heat risk for tomorrow, not that bad. Minor to moderate across most of the area. So, just go ahead and start prepping and getting ready for that, that extreme heat that's coming next week. We are seeing these temperatures slowly climb every time we get a new model run in here. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it. It is completely within the realm of possibility that Atlanta could top out in the triple digits as we head into the middle of next week. So, that would be a good 10 to 12 degrees above average. In the springtime, that's great, when the average is 60 and we're talking 70, 72. But when the average is almost 90, another 10 degrees on top of that just makes it almost unbearable. And again, I want to reiterate, by the time we get to Wednesday and then possibly Thursday as well, we are going to be looking at extreme heat risk conditions across most of the metro area, and then also portions of Upson County down near Thomaston, and as you head towards Monroe County and Bibb County down into central Georgia as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, once we get through the heat, by Friday is our next Braves on Gray Day. We're going to be seeing those temperatures into the mid-90s, maybe an isolated shower storm. We're going to bring the rain chances up at 30%. I guarantee you these rain chances are going to fluctuate a little bit as we get closer and closer. Models with the first heat wave of the year, which is exactly what this is, tend to have a hard time figuring out just how long they're going to last and how hot they're going to be. They can sometimes over or underdo it. So, we're doing the best we can trying to sort through the model data, but also kind of use our own intuition about the local, climatology here and how we typically see our temperatures. But I think by the time we get to next weekend, maybe more of a normal summertime pattern. We're talking pop-up showers and storms, temperatures into the lower 90s for Saturday. But if this high-pressure system over the East Coast decides it doesn't want to move, it's going to stick around. That means the heat's going to stick around as well. So something to keep in mind. The other thing to keep in mind, notice Tuesday night, Wednesday night, temperatures in the mid to upper 70s for the overnight forecast. That's the other thing that's kind of concerning, because once you start getting closer to that 80-degree mark in the overnight hours, those who are not privileged enough to have air conditioning, once you get to 80, you really can't cool down overnight. Your body just can't do it. And that's going to cause some issues because you're not getting the recovery and the relief that you need during the overnight hours to prepare you for the next day and the heat. So again, that's another reason why we're stressing for those who don't have air conditioning in their homes, it is time to go ahead and try and find an alternate arrangement to kind of help you just get through at the bare minimum Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, which is going to be the peak of the heat wave as it looks right now. So, we're going to keep you up to date. We're going to keep looking at the newest models as they come in to kind of get an eye on just how hot we're going to be and how hot it's going to feel. And we'll continue to bring that information for you. I'll be back on air tonight, 10 o'clock on Peachtree TV, 11 o'clock on Atlanta News First. Isaac Williams will be back tomorrow morning with your forecast on air, online, and on the app. Other than that, have a blessed evening and have a wonderful weekend.
Stay up to date on your latest weather from the largest team of meteorologists in the Southeast. Download the First Alert Weather app for hour-by-hour forecasts and join us every weekday at 11:30 a.m. on ANF+. You can also text weather to the number on your screen, and we'll send a link directly to your cell phone.